Howdy. Today we're doing another movie review as usual, but I'm switching up the setup a little bit. Normally I have more structured stuff, like it looks like this or like this. But we're talking about a movie that I just don't think that would do it justice. One of the things that I haven't really talked about much or in any review that I've done, I like pretty stupid movies. I could watch Billy Madison and Dumb and Dumber like a million times and I would still think they're funny. So it's no surprise that I also like The Benchwarmers. It's a very dumb premise. It's just three older dudes who play Little League Baseball against a bunch of children. It's pretty much it. It's a pretty stupid movie, but it has a lot of notable actors. Rob Schneider, David Spade, and John Heder are the stars of it. But John Lovitz is in it, Craig Kilborn's in it, Tim Meadows, Molly Sims, Nick Swartzen is in it, and he helped write the movie. Has a whole bunch of people, whatever. Made a pretty decent amount of money. It cost $33 million to make, and it made $65 million at the box office. So it's not surprising that they'd want to make a sequel. It's a little surprising they'd want to make a sequel 13 years later with none of the original cast in it. Direct to video. It's so weird. I don't get it. Ironically, I didn't know this existed until I was actually trying to watch a different dumb sports movie called Goon. That was actually pretty funny. It's relatively clever. That one got a sequel as well. It's not great, but I mean, all things considered, it's fine. Whatever. After I watched it, I saw this in my Netflix recommendation. Benchwarmers 2 Breaking Balls. Okay. Only one person from the first movie returns to my knowledge, and that's John Lovitz. I don't know what his career was looking like 2 years ago, that he felt he needed to do this, but here we are. There are just so few connections to the first movie. About 30 minutes in, I forgot that this was a sequel at all. In the first movie, John Lovitz plays this millionaire who sponsors a baseball tournament. And then in this one, he's the same character. He owns a law firm. And I guess he likes softball because his firm plays in like this lawyer softball league. That's it. That's like his full involvement in the movie. Actually, they do bring back his robot butler from the first movie. His main role in this is used as a spying device in the bathroom. So imagine you're going to take a whiz and the urinal cake starts talking to you. That's what happens in this movie.
What's happening? Where am I? What's with the echo? Is somebody there? The horror!
Other than Lovitz, the only actor that I recognized at all was the lead role, Chris Klein, who played the kid in American Pie. The lead female role is played by Chelsea Rice, who is apparently in The 100. But I've never seen that show. I don't know if she was a main character or what. Didn't ring a bell to me. The premise of The Benchwarmers, the first one, was already pretty stupid, but the sequel, boy, does it really up the ante. Klein's character is a big prospect, about to get called up to the major leagues, and then a pitcher hits him in the nuts with a pitch. He never plays baseball again, thus the title Breaking Balls, or rather, Breaking Balls. Yeah. This is the first thing we see in the movie, so if you were expecting anything more than the baseline level of comedy, your thinking is corrected immediately. He's sort of a loser for like 10 years, and then he's trying to be a lawyer, but nobody will hire him, and then finally Lovett's character does, and he becomes the firm's softball team manager, which is also the only reason he was hired. This also happened with a different law firm just before in the movie, and they actually want him to play on the team, but he's still traumatized by his pitching accident, so he goes up there and he tries to hit the ball and cowers in fear. I don't know, whatever. Basically, this is the most serious softball league of all time. At least in the first movie, it's the kids who like would conceivably care a lot about their sport, and some of them have like parents who take the game way too seriously. Like, it's stupid, but it makes like a semblance of sense. But no, not this one. You can just throw all that realism out the window. This one pretty much just takes place in another dimension. So the plot is terrible. But the comedy is actually somehow even worse. Every single stereotypical comedy archetype is in this movie, and they're all on the softball team. Paraplegic that only makes jokes about how he can't walk. Check. Hot girl that strips and only talks in innuendos. Check. Crazy office lady with the big glasses and the outfits. Check. Indian guy who plays cricket. Check. Creepy gay guy. Check. There are 2 Hispanic players, one of whom is very fast, and the other has a tattoo of a girl's name on his chest. The bar for what passes as a joke in this movie is on the floor. And I gotta be honest, I feel bad for Klein and Rice because it really seems like they're giving it their best shot. You know, they're doing what they can, but the script, it's just so bad. Rice's character basically has 0 personality written into her, except for the very end when she decides to play in one of the games. She was apparently really good when she was younger, and then she starts showboating and talking smack, but that's the best part of her character because she actually is able to exhibit some emotion aside from just being attracted to the main character.
Do you want to go in and have sex?
And for him, he really is giving a solid effort, but God, he just is not funny. It doesn't feel natural, but like he's trying, and I can recognize that. I don't know. It's bad. The weirdest part about this movie, though, is it spends so much time talking about like legal crap. So Klein's character, his name is Ben. Him and Rice are trying to get the city to stop building this sewage plant in her hometown. It's not really important, but the movie thinks it is because we keep talking about zoning and eminent domain and all of this stuff that nobody watching this movie would ever care about. The entire final game they play is based on this bet they make about where this plant would go, but they already had some settlement deal in place beforehand, but the main character had tricked them into the deal. I don't know. I had checked out way prior to this, but this movie basically feels like a pitch that somebody emailed to College Humor like 10 years ago as a sketch. And then College Humor didn't respond, so the person thought, well, if I just add a plot, I can make this into a full movie. And then this is what came out of the oven. It feels like they shot the whole thing in under a month. They play every game at the same field. They go to the same pizza place after every game. They use the same sets for the town, the courtroom, the house, everything. Everything looks almost exactly the same. And look, I know the creators probably didn't think this movie was going to be a masterpiece, but they probably also didn't think they were going to make under $100,000. Which is exactly what happened. I found a website that says this movie made about $55,000 in sales, which I imagine is far less than what it even cost to get Jon Lovitz to be in this movie in the first place. And the other part that stood out to me was in the final game, the bad guy's helicopter in the pitcher who hit Ben in the opening scene and like derailed his career. The lawyer says he's paying this guy $20,000 an hour to be his receptionist so he can play in the game. So like 1/3 of this movie's profits. Aside from how ridiculous it looked to see a helicopter land in like this neighborhood park, I imagine that was a pretty expensive creative choice for a movie that made like a teacher's yearly salary. Anyway, Ben riles up the team. They play really well. He takes the last at bat, nearly gets hit in the nuts again, and then they win the game, and that's that. I was curious after I watched the movie, who ever thought this was a good idea? So I looked up the director and the writers. First of all, and this probably goes without saying, none of these people worked on the original movie. It looks like the director pretty much exclusively works on children's TV shows, so I can see how this movie draws quite a bit from that. The writer appears to have helped write movies like The Little Rascals and Liar Liar, but it also doesn't seem like he does much writing. He's only credited with 12 things on IMDb since 1994. I'm pretty sure he just works as a professor at UCLA now. But no horrible movie review would be done justice without looking at other online reviews. There aren't really many on Rotten Tomatoes, so we're going to IMDb. The worst movie I've ever seen. No one's career could be helped by this movie. I'm ashamed I even watched it. Wow. Not a good wow either. Why was this made? Don't know how I even finished this movie. It was awful. It was far from funny. Don't waste your time watching it. So the bad reviews don't really surprise me, but it has a score of 4.1 on IMDb, which is very bad, but that means some people had to like it to keep it from being even lower. So let's see why people liked it. I'm not really sure why it's called Benchwarmers 2 because there is virtually none of the original cast. Also, when watching this movie, put away all logic because it doesn't make sense. It's one of those movies that's so bad it's funny, and I think they embraced it. Do not take this movie seriously at all, and you can have a good time wasting a few hours. But the other guy said to not waste my time with it. Well, I already did. An easy to like movie! Benchwarmers 2 Breaking Balls is a hoot to watch and laugh with. This movie works from start to finish. Each actor comes across as taking their role to heart, but not seriously. In other words, they each did their best to have fun, and that makes it fun for the audience. The plot is charming.
We're below the water table, making it vulnerable to flooding.
Each character is engaging.
I'm Ramona. I have been dying to come, but I just took on a massive load, and my back has been up against the wall.
And the dialogue is spot on for the story.
I just saw your trophy room. You said you didn't play softball.
I never said I didn't. I said it wasn't for me.
It's every bit as good as the original and a must-see, lighthearted comedy to brighten your day. 8 out of 35 people found this review helpful. At first, I wasn't sure how a Benchwarmers 2 would compare to the first one. I was pleasantly surprised. Me and my daughter have watched it at least 14 times already. It's part of our repertoire now. I got my buddies to come over, and we had a baseball snack time and laughed. Good times. The characters are well played and hilarious. Definitely recommend it to be a family fave. Please, please show your daughter and your friends a better movie. I beg of you to try harder. Greatest movie of all time. The greatest movie of all time. Way better than The Irishman junk. John Lovitz and Chris Klein were great. Okay, that one was good. I like that one. I laughed so hard so many times while watching this movie for all the wrong reasons. If you enjoy laughing at cringe, you'll love this amazing garbage can of a movie. Worst movie I've ever seen in my life, and it's not even close. 10 stars. That would be the best review, if not for this one. The girl that plays Annie is smoking hot, and I think she's hot. That's why I gave it a 10. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I have a lot of other more structured looking reviews on my channel. You can check those out down below. You guys know how YouTube works. I don't have to... I'm teaching you. Anyway, otherwise, have a fantastic rest of your day, rest of your night, rest of your morning, and take care.